I did watch the video in part, which was helpful.
Good.
Longer than I expected, right? So there's a lot of good content there, so I appreciate that. Um, but I also thought it'd be good for me to introduce myself, tell you about my journey, my goals, and what you think, not just go high level might help with what you've picked up. Um, and maybe a little intro from yourself as well, seeing as I know you from the Cliff Asks group, right? So that might be a way to start.
Sure. You want to go first? You want me to?
No, I'll go first. No problem. I'll do that.
Okay.
Talk. So I started learning about rank and rent last year. I'm based in the UK, if you can't tell. I started just with the crazy stuff, like trying to get all into the SEO. Fast forward 12 months, I realized it's all about the sales, not about the SEO to some degree. Right. Everyone gets there eventually. I went to the nth level of SEO, buying plugins, mass page builders, and I think I got too much information trying to learn from all the gurus, the ones who do know as well. So I bounced around learning from groups like Nick's group and Mike Martin, who's a UK person who does a lot of stuff with Magic Page plugin, which is a WordPress plugin that builds mass location pages, which can help, but maybe not so much as they used to. Um, Herc and Magic and Zagio. Then from a guy called Zach, who I mentioned was in Nick's one of Nick's cohorts, who does his own course. And I just tried to really envelop myself and learn, created a ton of sites. Some ranked, some didn't, some got leads, some didn't. But I focused in the UK, which was a mistake because the UK don't really, the business owner don't really monetize. They don't get how to monetize leads and they use these services. So it can work, but it hasn't been as successful, I think, as it could be for me in the US, which is where I was putting my focus now. And to date, I've used a couple of different builders. There's a Duda builder that comes with a hosting cost like 10, $15 a month, which is okay. I've used WordPress. The site that's close to ranking or has ranked the highest and the most was actually not WordPress, was the Duda site. But I think that's more down to the due diligence and the fact it's in America. Um, and I've used WordPress because I got quite quick at doing it, but I think I got lost in the detail. And what I really should have been doing is learning about getting the right business owner, having the right filter, which I picked up from learning in the group. And I'm fingers crossed close to a point where I can monetize because it's one thing saying I'm ranking a site, I'm running a site, but until you get cash collected, cash received, I don't think it really means anything. So just in the last couple of weeks, I've got this reinvigorated outlook on what I think I could do with this business model. And just yesterday, I was in a group call with Nick's little brother. I'm sure you're familiar with Nick's brother, a guy called Porter.
I didn't know
Um,
anything about him having a brother or anything.
he has a brother who started out Rank and Rent 2 years ago. An interesting guy, not full of life like Nick, but an interesting guy. And they were trying to beta, not a paid program, but they're trying to get more customer feedback because they're trying to up their game because they probably realize between $0 free knowledge and $10,000 courses, there's probably something they can do in between, like a monthly rental. So I think they were trying to assess, can we offer you some more value than the free group, monetize it, but have you guys pay less than the full all platinum singing dancing group? So he did a session for an hour, learn a little bit extra, but to be fair, nothing that I haven't picked up from you and your group. And I just thought to myself, I'm giving myself 3 weeks to basically do a rent and rank deal where I have to commit myself to spending a couple $100 on ads, obviously doing due diligence, and just really throw myself into it and making it work and not having excuses like I'm busy today or I'll focus on the SEO and then I'll worry about selling it. So I've totally changed my outlook. I'm really comfortable picking up the phone call. I feel like I can close anything if I just have a couple of leads. So I think I just need to talk to a guy who obviously is knowledgeable, happy to share little nuggets, and who knows about the software and you know the a good way to do it, not necessarily the best way, but a good way that they know how to do. And then I'm going to just try and execute that plan. And if I can get it working for one, I'll get it working for five, then 10, then 20, then whatever, right? But I'm right now at the beginning of that journey. So
Well,
little intro there. Sorry.
that's a good intro, as good as any of them. So that's great. I appreciate you sharing that, and it helps me know how how best I can help. I'm gonna do a little, I guess, rapid fire here as well. So, specific to rank and rent, um, I've been doing it a couple of years, have had a variety of experiences, some good, some bad. I would say that specific to your current needs, um, a way that I like to pitch it is um, basically to call, like, identify a good area and a place that I think I want to go into, and then, collect the contact information, make the calls or whatever you're going to do the outreach. And then you basically you offer, hey, I've got free leads. I generate leads for, do you have a certain niche you're focusing on, or you're not sure yet?
I'm going to be boring, probably still try concrete, but manage my expectation that I'd have to spend more to get something back. But I'm trying to kill the fantasy that you can only do concrete if no one else is doing it in the niche. The fact is, the market is big enough to support a few more people, and each business owner can benefit from a lead gen. So I'm thinking of it slightly differently. But concrete, I mean, the same stuff that people say is tried and tested, because there's demand and the sales cycle is short and the spend is there to justify a business owner wanting to think, can I really afford to spend this much? So I think it'll be the first, the boring three or four, which everyone knows: concrete, maybe fencing, but the CPC looks a bit higher. So I'm comfortable talking the lingo of concrete, of trees. I understand, stamp decorative. I can talk about it. That already puts me more comfortable when I talk to these people about it.
Okay. So for example, hey, I've identified, some town concrete as a place I want to go. So I'm going to, come up with a list of 10 or 20 or 50 different potential business owners. Um, some of the stuff is, I don't know which stuff is originally from Nick or not. I know that I've heard some of the same stuff he says from other people, but some, because I know you're in Nick's atmosphere as well, I would say that you probably have heard focus on businesses that are already doing advertising. Um, I think that that is good advice. It doesn't always work out as easily as you might think. So I've had success both with ones that I found through advertising and not, because sometimes they don't even know enough about technology to even start advertising. They don't know how to, like, even that it's a possibility or whatever. They don't, and I know it sounds crazy to techie people like you and me, but what do you mean you don't know that you can run ads online? Like, they just don't get it. Or they think it's magic or voodoo or whatever, like, oh, I just don't want to touch anything like that. So, um, really, I would say that the red flags I see are in communication. And your goal is not to sell somebody 2 leads a month. Your goal is to sell somebody 20 leads and eventually 200 leads a month. And if their communication is not on point with you, it's not going to be on point with the leads that you send them. Now, if you're using an automation platform like High Level, where you can, as soon as they fill out a contact form, you can text them and say, thanks for your request for our concrete services. Just because you can do that through your platform, and then you maybe hand it off to the business owner, hey, I collected all the required information, property address, whatever. Here's the full lead details. Let me know how it goes. Whatever your handoff message is, if they never update you on the status of it, or uh, they can never be bothered to give you an update or something like that, that's not going to improve. They respond to what they want, to what they value. And they value you as a lead generator if you're generating leads for them, only if they want to keep growing their business. A lot of these contractors, they have a certain goal in their mind. I want to take home 100,000 a year or $500,000 a year. And after that, I'm not, like, why would I work harder? Like, I already have what I want. So if they are, um, not good in communication with you, that means they don't value you highly enough. Now, you may not have earned that value from the proving yourself to them yet, and that's okay. But they still should respect you, and they still should view you as part of, not a partnership legally, of course, but part of the team in a sense. And I value you, and I look forward to what your potential is to bring to me and all that stuff. And that's why you offer the free leads. But if they are hard to get a hold of, if all this other stuff, you have to have somewhat of a realistic expectation. Hey, they're actually out in the field doing the work or providing the free estimates or whatever that you're generating for them. So there is some leeway there. But if they just ghost you for a week at a time, more than once, then it's probably a no-go for a long-term relationship. So I would say when you're offering free leads, who isn't going to want that? Of course, if they're at all interested in growing their business. Now, if they say yes to free leads, what I like to do is say, okay, they're not free leads. They are, you don't have to pay upfront leads. They are, if they close, pay me a commission. Oh, well, how much do you want? Well, let's just say 10% or 5% or whatever you're agreeable to of the contract total price, the sales price, not your profit, typical commission. And then when you go price these jobs how to bid based on that. So you say, okay, I'm going to give you several leads and you agree to pay me 10% and we will revisit maybe a week after I send you these leads so that we can check the status of each one and also just have a conversation of what this might look like going forward if you're happy with it or not. So all that conversation is before you own a domain name, before you run ads, before you have a lead in hand. Now, the reason I like to do it that way is because I've done it the other way. I have built the website. I have generated the leads. I have 5 leads. I have 20 leads. And I just now I can't find somebody to give them to. So either they are, for example, in the north of the United States, a lot of concrete guys literally stop working. So they either turn off their phone or they put their guys on what's that called? Laid off, like a furlough. And then they go collect unemployment for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, and then they get hired back by the same exact company. I mean, it's just kind of a standard practice, somewhat. So if you're calling in October for somewhere in the north and you're saying, hey, can I give you 5 leads? You're like, well, sure, but I'm not even going to call them until March. So that's a harder sell. Now, the other side of it is wherever they might be, there are certain areas that you might find as maybe a low cost per click might be attractive to you or something, but then you find out that the reason it's a low cost per click is because obviously that means no one's bidding on it or fewer people are bidding on it, but that also might mean just no one's available for work. All the contractors are just way too busy. So do they want more free leads? No. So why generate, no matter what process or template you have, it takes work to build a new site. You create a domain, then you apply your template, then you update the location, then you maybe create an email account, whatever your process is, it takes work to launch a new site. So if you can't even get somebody to agree to free leads at a 10% or 5% commission, then you know what, just because it's attractive on paper doesn't mean I can actually make money here. So the other benefit is you call, you say leads, you say you agree to a commission. It's pretty standard. No one's going to really fight you on that. Oh, I don't pay commissions. Okay, well then you don't, you only work on referrals ever. You're not really trying to grow your business, so, which is fine. It's not a judgment. It's not a good fit. So you find this person and you say, you're agreeable to these terms, right? And it doesn't have to be super official. There's no documents or anything unless you really want it to be, but probably not at that point. And they say, yeah, that sounds good. Send me free leads. And if they close, I'll send you a percentage. Okay, great. So then you say, okay, great. I will send you, I will, it takes time to set this up. Now that I have them, now that I know I'm going to send them to you, I'm going to go set this up and it's going to start producing leads probably in 1 to 3 weeks. Is that okay? And then they're like, well, yeah, I mean, I'm in business today. I plan on being in business in a month. So, sure. I wasn't even expecting your call today. So it's not like I'm immediately all of a sudden relying on you for my business. So you don't tell them that up front. You just say, okay, great. It takes time to set this up. I'm going to start forwarding them to you. You don't have to talk about technical stuff. You don't have to say buy a domain. You don't have to say SEO. Um, you don't have to mention that you're generating them through ads or anything like that. You just say it takes time to set this up. They're not going to know. If they knew how to do all the technical stuff, they would have done it.
Yeah.
So they're just going, oh yeah, of course it takes time. I mean, it takes time to do anything. So, okay, I'm going to send you a couple leads. You'll know that they came from me because I'll let you, it'll be very obvious. It's a little, whatever your process is. I'm going to send you an email, a text. I'm going to call you. I'm going to live transfer, whatever it is. And then you collect their information. Is this, you confirm this is the phone number that you want them forwarded to. This is are you Bob, the owner? Are you the one who actually takes the calls and does the estimates? Oh no, it's our lead estimator, Sally. Okay, well, so we should probably put Sally's name on here. Hey, lead, thank you very much for contacting us. Sally with this phone number is going to be in touch with you soon, whatever your messaging looks like. And so now you have someone at least on a trial basis. And if they like the leads, of course, hopefully they turn into a long-term client. But at least it's kind of like a proof of concept that if you can find that one, you can probably find another one if they don't pan out. And so you didn't build the site till you had someone on the hook. You don't have any heavy sells like, pay me $1,000 and wait a month for it to get set up. It's just, hey, can you take a free lead in 2 weeks? Yeah. Okay, great. So after you send them the free leads, I mean, you don't want to send them 20 free leads, but you got to send them a few. And once you have that follow-up call, that's when you start talking, hey, this commission deal, it gets a little, in my experience, sometimes it's great and sometimes it gets a little uh, hairy to manage. And so if you are interested, we can actually set you up more on a flat fee basis instead of a percentage basis. You've seen the leads that I can send you. You see that they're high quality leads. You already told me, 2 minutes ago when we did our lead check-in that 2 out of the 6 leads that I sent you are either promising or already scheduled for the job and at a total of $25,000. So if you're paying me $2,500 as a 10%, that's pretty pricey for you. So I don't mind getting paid $2,500, of course, but it's just a lot to manage the back and forth. So if you want, I can change you to an annual agreement, and by doing that, you don't have to pay me a percentage, and then I don't have to keep up with you on every single deal. And the benefit to you, of course, as I said before, is the saved money and also the less overhead. But I want you to view this as an annual contract. It is not just during the busy season because the internet doesn't turn off in the winter. And yes, you're going to get more leads in the summer just because that's when there's more demand. But if someone comes in over the winter, I'm still going to send them to you because it's exclusive. And if you have to have a process for that, like you need to either let me know to have some sort of automated reply, or not, you don't have to use the word automated to them. You don't want them to get freaked out with technology, but you have to let me know that I will just put them in the queue for whenever you're back in business in 3 months or something. I can do that for you. I won't even send them to you if that's the process you want, but I need to know that in advance because I don't want to send people to you and then you're just ignoring them because it's off season. So if you have your own internal process, like you probably should, if someone contacts you in November and you're in a snowy area of the country, you need to put them in your book or do whatever you need to do to be called in March. But at least you, or to be followed up with in March. But at least you call them now and you say, hey, it's winter. We resume in March. I'll call you then. That's all you got to do. So the point is that it's an annual price, and the annual price is $25,000, $2,400, or $24,000, whatever you want it to be. If you prefer, you can pay me weekly or monthly or you know, 3 installments during the busy season, whatever you want to do, but it's an annual price. And the reason I like to say it as an annual price is because um, I think it's just easier to digest. Whoa, that's a big number. But when you think about 12 months of me sending you, you know, 15, 30, 45, 100 leads, um, you know, think about 10% of that, because that's kind of, have you ever heard of the term price anchoring?
Yeah.
So you're kind of anchoring the price of, hey, it was 10%. Now it's no percent and just $25,000 a year. So, um, you know, what is that? That's $250,000. So, you know, what it would have been. So do you think you're going to make $250,000 gross off of me sending you hundreds of leads? Yeah. So now if you can't grow your business to take on an extra $250,000 or better, then we got a different problem. But you can pay it how you want. So it's more of like, because I've tried a weekly payment, I've tried a monthly payment, I've tried commission, tried all these things. And when you're in March and they are salivating at the option of getting a lead generator on their team, they're going to say yes to anything. And then all of a sudden, well, I agreed to weekly, I agreed to monthly, but now I want to turn it off in October. Of course, I would want to turn it off. No, no, no. That's not what we talked about back in March. We talked about it's an annual price and you can pay it when you prefer. Do you want to? And I've had people say, can I just pay this off? It's July. I got too much money. I don't know what to do with. Can I just send you the remaining balance? Yeah, sure. So the contract says it's for a year, and the contract would say how they want to pay it off, whether it's weekly or monthly or whatever. And then that basically is giving them the flexibility to do it instead of you saying, no, I need you to pay me every week, or no, I need you to pay me every month. That's how I like to do it.
That's very interesting. Two things you've done there that are quite different to what my conventional wisdom was. It's comfortable for you to say to them week to week, month to month, which is maybe what Nick does, like month to month. Unless I've missed it, I don't think people talk about saying it's an annual contract, because immediately it's great for us because we get revenue, predictable revenue for us. I'm just thinking, if you selling the annual plan to them, would you highlight to them the benefit also for you is it's cheaper than doing it month to month. I'm giving you a discount. An annual plan could be 2,000 a month equivalent, or if it's month to month, 2,500. It's the same effort for me, but I'm trying to de-risk it for you. I mean, they want to get the feeling of an annual discount, like you do when you buy any SaaS, 20% off, 30% off, is what immediately comes to mind. But it's a different way of looking at it. And I mean, I've only just started out, but it makes sense to me. You let them pay how they want, but say it's annual. Some people always say do month to month, but what's going to happen, exactly like you say, unless you're in the Sunshine State or California or wherever, and you don't want to do business in California for other regulatory reasons I've heard about. So let's forget California. I don't think about, there's like a sales tax or something else there, but you don't want to be in the business of having lots of lead gen between March and October, and then everything shuts down. Well, you're giving me leads. I can't do anything now. It's too late in the season. So you want to have an annualized plan. And if you can show them the business case for, well, I'm giving you on average this many jobs a month. I told the guy, you're already ahead for the month. The way I said it to him was, if I only got you one job a month, you're in the money, right? I get you one job in the month. I get you two jobs. You're done for the next 2 months. I don't want you to be in the hole. You're always above the ground. I'm the one in the hole, but I don't want it to feel like that to me. But that's what I was saying to this guy. And he kind of thought, yeah, it makes sense. It's fair, but it's a commission deal. Now I'm thinking, that's great, but every month I'm going to have to chase him up. I want to de risk my end. So if you give me 150 a week, So I haven't said this to him yet, but this is what I was planning. You give me 150 a week, which sounds like, is that all? That's nothing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be able to use that to grow what I need to do in the background, right? Because whatever I'm doing is working. I want to work it bigger, better, faster for you. And if I have to wait to the end of every month to collect a check from you, it just puts me back a little bit. If you can give me X or Y, then it's almost like pay me that cash flow and then take that off the balance of 10%. It just means I can get to work for you sooner, quicker, and you're still ahead. You're still making money. You've already cleared the next 2 months worth of rent because I've got you X many leads or jobs. But I haven't quite closed it out yet because I was meant to meet him this morning. Yeah, he says he gets up at 5. He's out the door at 6:40 because he's busy hustling, and he does come back to me. But we've only been talking for just under a week, and in that week we've spoken quite a few times, and he's just busy hustling, closing deals. And I'm like, this is great, but actually, until you got cash collected, like you're saying, basically, it doesn't mean anything. So I've got to now close this guy. I've done a soft close. We've agreed on voice. We've agreed that he's going to give me 10%, but how's he tracking it? He's a small operator who has a talent for closing. He's very respectful, has a good demeanor. I've heard him on the phone. He talks very respectfully. People like talking to him and he puts them at ease. So he's closing them. But he doesn't have, he's not, he's here, but his team's here. And he needs to grow, buy more equipment. And he has big aspirations. I'm like, this is quite a, throwdown for me. I could help him grow. And I'm planting the seeds of, we can do this. I'm good for it from the leads. I don't want to seem too desperate because then he'll have the lever. So I'm like, if he doesn't close it with me this weekend, I'm going to put everything on ice, keep the leads, wait till he's closed, then give him the leads that he's accruing. Because I think a week of free leads or a few leads, but I'm still learning. And what you just told me is very useful. Stop selling yourself short. Get an annual plan and say to him, you may not realize it, but I'm giving you a discount on the annual plan. And it's pricing in the fact that over the slow months, but because you're going to be so ahead over the summer months. That's the way we have to sell it to them. Otherwise, 2 grand a month or 24 grand annually, it's like, why should I go annual? So I'd anchor it at 3 grand a month or 2 grand a month if it's annualized. And then you get basically 30% off. And I'm like a full time worker giving you leads 24/7. So I like that idea. That's a really different way to play it, which I think will be a differentiator.
Well, good. I'm glad to help. Of course, it depends on how they
Yeah.
hear it and how they receive it. It's going to be different for everybody, but I would say for me, I've just been burned too many times of like you don't if you have to pull out the marriage contract. Hey, remember we're married, even though it's December. It's not a good relationship, you know. So um, trying to be on the same page. I mean, that's always the goal is that the incentives are aligned. And my incentive is you're going to want to renew this with me. I already gave you free leads. You know that they're legit. They're they're the best leads you can get because they're exclusive to you. They have an address, they have a phone number, they have a name. They told you what whatever your intake form is. They told you what kind of project cost you or project type it is or whatever. And if you waste them, then then that's not good for either one of us. If you sell them and it's a big job, you got to pay me a whole bunch of money, which is great, but it doesn't feel good to pay referral fees or commission fees or whatever you want to call it. So, and then you got to price your jobs an extra 10% or so just so you're not going negative on that. So consider it a marketing fee. You're not otherwise marketing. You were living on referrals and, handing out business cards and stuff, and that's okay. But, if you don't have a line item in your budget for marketing, now you do. And that's how all businesses grow. And so, you just have to price your services accordingly. I don't want you to accidentally go negative on your jobs. This is supposed to grow your business in a good way, not have any negative surprises. So the point is, I sent you some good leads. You know that they're good. You know that they're exclusive to you. And if you want to continue that I mean, either, do you want to have the same conversation. If I call you a year from now and have the same offer, is it going to be a good offer? Yeah. Okay. Then why wouldn't you sign up now, knowing that you would sign up again next year? And I'm going to do my part. And the contract does have some protections against me just totally going away. Like in my contract, it says if I don't send you any leads for 60 days straight or something, then the contract cancels or something. So like if I just took your money and ran, then you can, you know, get your prorated refund or whatever it says in the contract. But I'm not going to do that, and I wouldn't put that in the sales pitch. But anyway, so that's my take on it: is consider it an annual price, think about it in an annual line item for your budget, and if you can grow your business, you know, 2x, 3x, whatever for only $25,000, that sounds like a pretty good deal to me. And then we'll renegotiate in a year. If it didn't turn out well, maybe we can renegotiate down a little bit. If it turned out great, maybe the price goes up a little bit, but at least you're locked in for the year. And part of running a business in a savvy way is knowing your fixed costs, whether that's as a percentage or as a dollar amount. And all businesses, all well-managed businesses would prefer fixed costs because then they can plan around it. So yeah, that's the way I view it, is pretty good aligned incentives. And to be honest, they don't want to pay in December. They are hurting. They are trying to use their savings, and they want to pay you off early. And I don't mind that one bit.
It's like yeah, that's really smart. Look, I haven't experienced it because I haven't experienced it enough for that to be a problem. But that's good to know, something to think about. I guess the other thing I was thinking about is running ads. I've read a lot of the ads channel. I've resigned myself to thinking, okay, I could pay someone to do it. I can give it a go myself. The worst can happen is I spend $100 or $200, and that's the cost of doing business. So I should do it, get burnt, or be educated and try and get burnt, and just do it. So whether I do it for an old site that was slightly monetized or not monetized enough, or a brand new site, a different niche, I will do some research. But I'm thinking to diversify and maybe the niche and just a different area because I'm already tuned in, can clone the site, all that good stuff. I guess keyword research, you've talked about some of the things already. The CPC could be high or low. It's not always a good indicator. The best litmus test is if you have the business owner who says, I pay for those leads. And if you know what the job is, like if it's 3 jobs a month, will give the business owner 10, 15,000, $20,000, then that's the right niche. If it's a lot lower than that, then you're probably in the wrong niche or you need a lot more volume. So that's probably the hidden, not hidden, but it was a press on me before, but I didn't quite understand that I'm better off calling business owners before I even do anything else, which sounds so simple now, but it was so easy to avoid when you're like, I have to learn this new skill. Otherwise, I'm going to be in a problem when I get all my leads. So I've been through there and done that. And yeah,
The hardest part for me is like these people are coming to my website, they are submitting their information, and they want help. And yeah, maybe they aren't going to do their project for a week or a month or a year, but if I just don't connect them at all within 3 weeks, because it's hard to find somebody that wants to take them,
yep.
then I'm handing off 3 week old stale leads. That's not good for them either. So it's just a bad experience for the
Yep.
prospect and for the business owner, because if, oh well, these are the leads you're going to give me, I don't want that. So yeah, that's the pre-selling side of things, which is smart, I think. And then as far as the technical side of stuff goes, the good thing about it is you can find someone to help you with technical things all across the world at all the price ranges. Now, hiring someone on Fiverr for $5 to $50 is probably going to be not as great of a team member as someone that you full on hire as like a media buyer for 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever dollars a month salary or something. But just because it's not the ideal doesn't mean it's a bad idea. You know, it's, hey, it gets your ads off the ground. And you can even use tools that are like automated ad generator machines or whatever you want to call it. And I've used some, and some turn out just as well as human campaigns, and some don't. But I would say that if your math is okay, that I can make X dollars if I sell this site, and then I buy ads at this amount. It's basically just arbitrage, and um, you can find somebody to actually do the technical side of stuff for you. The sales side, the customer relationship side, that is harder to find because you need someone who understands the business model. So they got to be somewhat techie, but who can talk with the blue collar business owner. And I would say that they need to, whether it's you or someone you add to your team, the salesperson is not a one time make the sale and go away. The salesperson needs to check in with them every week or every month. And so now it's more, account manager, if you will. So I think that people get shiny object syndrome about this business model, and especially people who are more techie, they're comfortable with websites, they're comfortable with ads, or at least comfortable with the idea of having to learn it. And of course, a typical contractor type business owner is not. So that's the value add, like, you need leads, I can figure out how to get them. So let's work together. But it's not build a site, turn on ads, get leads, get paid. It's not like that at all. And as you said at the beginning, that it's definitely more into the sales side of stuff. So I think that the easiest selling is where they want what you're offering in, and it's delivered in a package that they like, the way the offer is structured, and is a price, I don't know if you've heard of Alex Hormozy, probably the biggest YouTuber out there, but business YouTuber, but he he's got that saying of irresistible offer. So granted, you're not going to be giving away leads forever and ever and ever, but it's an initial offer that is irresistible. It is, hey, do you want free leads? There's no pay upfront cost to obtain the lead. In that sense, they are free for me to give them to you. It's just if they turn out, then you pay a commission. And I know some people who offer them that way. Hey, do you want these leads? If they close, it's 10% or 5% or whatever the agreeable percentage is. But if when we have our follow-up meeting, you don't tell them this necessarily, but when we have our follow-up meeting, you say, hey, if you agree to this annual price, then I'll waive my 10%. I'll waive that commission. You don't even have to pay it to me. So you were already going to pay me $2,500 from the last week or two that I've been sending you 5 or 10 leads. So that $2,500 goes toward the $25,000 that I just quoted you for the whole year. And you can pay me however you want. You got the money from that job, or you will have it in a week. Why don't we count that as putting that toward that contract, and then figure out the payment terms that are right for you, whether you want it to be a weekly auto draft or a monthly auto draft, or I'll call you every month anyway just to check in, and then we'll just see how much you want to put toward it, and I'll keep track of the running balance. I mean, that's probably a little more risky, but yeah, anyway, you can work it however you want.
Let's say, this is a stupid idea, but if you get so much business that annual price starts, not getting behind, but say you priced it 2 grand a month. But then if you're in Nick's group, you just say, make it an irresistible offer, make it a no-brainer. The business owner might get 40 leads, 50 leads, it doesn't matter. You've locked in, move on. Because it's hassle-free at that point. The business owner doesn't even want to come back to you. It's such a good offer. He's thinking, I close 100,000 worth this month, and the guy's only taking 2,500. Like, I'll take that trade. If it's 10% commission, it's a lot more. But guess what? You got to, I can imagine for one or two clients, you can track it just about. If you got 15, 20 clients doing that, you would spend your whole time just tracking sales. And how would you verify it? You need to have an operator with high integrity because the tapes won't show when they're closed. So you kind of want to say, I'm happy to forego that additional income because I can't track it. So I'd rather take X. What is X? X is the amount of effort for putting up the site for doing the ads. As long as I make a margin, whether you make 10K or 100K, I really don't care beyond that point. Unlikely to make 100K in certain niches now anyway. So, or at least sustainably. So I get that. That is a really interesting point. I guess the other thing was you could probably 70% pre-qualify whether something's going into just by talking to business owners in that area because the data is based on human activity, human behavior. So if you're calling in like Victorville, which is an area I looked at, no one's advertising, you might be ranking. Guess what? You're not getting any leads. You're not getting, there's nothing happening in Victorville. You're ranking great in a site that doesn't do anything in a rinky-dink town. So if you spoke to the business owners, if you said, hey, how far out are you? I think one thing Nick says, you kind of get a human indication of is there interest in that area. You talk to 5 business owners, only one is interested, something. You talk to 10 and no one's interested, red flag. So I definitely have that issue where I have a few sites to get leads, but very infrequent. And it's not monetized because no one really wants the lead. They're not going to pay 10%. And I don't know what happens to those sites if I just kill them, leave them, or just ruin my due diligence. So I've got a swathe of old sites that don't really do much in singularity, but in aggregate, there's a little bit, but it's not enough to really get critical mass. I think critical mass is getting 10 decent calls a month, maybe more. 20 calls would be good, right? But I've had sites that got 10 calls in the last week, is the one I'm trying to monetize now. And it literally came out of nowhere. I have no rhyme or reason as to why I got calls. I have a theory, you might tell me this is right or wrong, that for some reason, maybe because there was some positive feedback in the loop that someone did a search, my site came up, Google said that that person went to the site, the searcher went to the site, hit a call button, and didn't repeat the search within a certain time frame because they got through to me or to someone else. So apparently Google rewards this if the searcher doesn't go back and do a search straight away, because that means they were fulfilled by their search terms and someone fulfilled it. Either they got the information or they clicked to call. So I've got a theory that that's probably going to help in the long term. And there was a lot of that because believe it or not, I was getting calls in November, December for this niche, for this site. No one was paying for the leads. I put it through to a random company thinking, I don't even care. They're not going to pay for the leads because I've tried calling them and they don't even take my call because they're a lead gen site, right? So they're not going to pay me. And I spoke to the guy. And the second I said, do you generate leads? He knew I knew who he was. He hung up on me. I thought, you know what? I don't even care. Take my calls. Google's going to reward me because every time someone gets through to you, they're not going to repeat the search. And I think, believe it or not, that might have helped because I got 4 calls last Friday. And ever since then, it's just been quite busy. So until we close, fingers crossed, but I just forget about it. But it's been an interesting experience. But this last week's changed my outlook. So I appreciate that insight. I guess I picked up so much from the group. I have to say thank you for that. And the people in the group like Haji Don, like Mayo, like Noah Bizgrips, there's a lot to learn and you can learn a lot from a nice tight group of people. I hope in time I can give value as well, rather than just consuming, because I'm trying to work out, everyone's using tech and skills above me. I'm like, have you thought about using Twilio? Like we use Twilio how to go high level. Everyone knows the system. So you've got a bunch of elite operators here, which is a pretty cool group to have. Whereas Nick's group is full of all different levels and it's just a lot of volume and very real engagement. So thank you for setting that group up. That's pretty cool. I guess I should ask about the go high level aspect because I'm currently spending an annual stupid plan. I think you might say it's not stupid. I paid $600 for a plugin for this site plugin. And what it does, and you might tell me, you know what, Ali, you don't even need to do that because you've proved you don't need it because you're using a Duda site and that ranks and go high level pages can rank if you're paying ads. But I got a plugin that creates multiple location pages with the meta tags and the description and the SEO. And it's meant to help a site rank not in, say, Manhattan, but like all the small areas around Manhattan. Because Google number of searches in New York is like 10,000. But Google for Brunswick or a sub bit of, I don't know, Brooklyn or is much smaller and no one's ranking in that little suburb. So this plugin helps you create 100 location pages. Slowly, you drip feed them. Then you've got 100 location pages under your main landing page and you link everything. And bottom line is, I was sold on this. I bought it. I was like, this is amazing. But guess what? I can't monetize those sites. I get the leads, but they're all the UK. It does not work. So I'm stuck with an annual plan. I'm trying to cancel. On the plus side, it gives me 200 sites with hosting and pages and the plugins for like $3 a year per site on average. So it's, if you look at hosting, a Weebly site could cost you 10, $15 a month, and you're limited. In how many sites you're going to do, you're going to hold 100 sites a month. Unlikely. You got to stop and monetize before you do that. So the Go High level, I think if you're on a sub account, there's the starter pack, the agency plan, and the SaaS solution, which is what you have. If you get the first tier, you get access to a sub account or 3 sub accounts. You can create sites. Does it mean I could, for example, pick 3 cities for a niche, like concrete Denver, concrete Colorado, concrete something else, create 3 Go high level landing pages and funnels, and then when they monetize, create the WordPress pages, pay someone to do the SEO after I've monetized the site or parallel, and then use that 3 slots to create the next batch of 3 sites.
I would recommend that each site would be its own high-level sub account. And the reason for that is because in a sub account, you can have unlimited funnels, unlimited websites, unlimited blogs, all that website stuff, but you can also have the contacts. And in the snapshot, the high-level snapshot that I publish for Rank and Rent, it is designed that way because it's designed in a way for exclusive forwarding of the leads and to manage multiple location service, whatever, multiple sites within a single, what I'm going to call flows. Okay. So like someone goes, you need a form, you need a website to embed the form on, you need the form data to go somewhere, then you need to act on it, whether that's forwarding or autoresponder or whatever. And then you are also keeping track of the statistics, if you will. So your sub account is going to have all those pieces, the website, the form, the list of contacts generated, all that stuff in a single sub account. So let's call it, for example, Colorado Concrete, Denver Concrete, whatever. So Denver Concrete is the name of your sub account, or Denver Concrete Company, whatever you want to call it, Alley's Concrete, it doesn't matter. But whatever that business is, you're forwarding the leads to Bob's Best Concrete, your exclusive client. So the way my snapshot is set up, it is designed to confirm the number. So, Sally comes in, she submits the form, a text message goes to Sally and says, thanks for submitting the form. Please respond to this message to make sure my texts are going through to you. She responds back with the number 1. And then I say, great, thank you. Bob at this phone number is going to be in touch with you. He's the estimator. He'll get you scheduled on his calendar. If you ever have any trouble getting in touch with Bob, or if you have any other questions along the way, let me know. Otherwise, my job is just to help get you connected to the right person. Or that's if it's a complete request. If it's an incomplete request, like they didn't tell you what kind of project it is, like, is it a retaining wall? Is it a patio? Is it a driveway? Whatever. Then the automation says, I got this information, but not that information. And then once it's complete, then it goes into the, forward it to Bob message. So, you're going to generate, let's say, 20 contacts, and all those went to Bob. Now, if you have website number two, because you can have unlimited websites and unlimited funnels and unlimited forms and all that stuff within a single sub account. But the reason that gets unwieldy is because where does the data go? So you would have a separate account, sub account called Dallas Concrete or whatever. And that's going to generate obviously totally different leads. Now, this goes back to the point of why you should get someone trial leads before you even build a site. I have built a site and I know concrete. I have run an agency for a long time. I've had concrete clients for years, landscaping, hardscaping, all that stuff, realtors, everything, right? I know this industry. So I build a website that is a knockout website. It says everything. It's got all the SEO. It's got the keywords. It mentions every single possible service. And then you call these companies and you say, hey, do you want free leads? And then they say, yes, of course. And then you say, okay, great. You do concrete, right? Oh yeah, well, we only do flat work. We don't do decorative. We only do decorative. We don't do retaining walls. We're not, like, our little town doesn't allow us to do whatever because we don't have the extra bonding or insurance or permit or whatever to do it. So we can't offer that service. I'm like, man, I got 5 of these leads out of 10 that I generated are all for retaining walls, and you don't do retaining walls. So why am I even talking to you? So that's why I basically build the site for them, specific to them and what they offer. Because if they're a company in need of leads and they only do driveways and they only ever want to do driveways or flat work, really, then I build a driveway website basically. And I might buy a domain called dallasdriveways.com instead of Dallas, all the concrete Dallas.com. And I do a little extra keyword research. Is there enough search volume just for driveways, just for flat work, just for patios, all that kind of stuff? And if not, then I might call them back and say, oh, you know what? My tech guy did some extra research and turns out it's not really going to be a good fit if you can only do driveways. So we're going to have to, are you sure you don't do something else? And they'll be like, well, I really only do driveways and that's all I ever want to do. And that's all I know how to do. And okay, great. You didn't put out any money to me. There's no love lost at all. And, I'll move on to the next call. So that's another reason to pre-sell, because I've built sites and they weren't even the right fit.
Yeah, no, I'm learning. Look, they tell you it on day one. Put your hand in a room, ask people who want to do the SEO in the back end. A number of people saying, "Oh, I'm really good at ranking a site. I want to partner with someone to sell," and no one puts their hand up. So I totally get it. What I will ask is, I got 5 minutes left to the top of the hour, and I know you've given me an hour of the time, which I really value. I appreciate that. Um, can I, not now, can I see an example of a dummy site so I can know what a go high level site looks like and what the funnel might look like? Because it's too deep to get into. And I was watching the video and I can see on the back end you can do anything. To date, I've made myself crazy using Twilio, which is cheap for what it is, but I know it has the lead connect form in go high level. And I've had to, like, I don't know, get form builders, and it just adds up. So the go high level, is a go high level site as good or easy or as effective to rank for the purpose of pre-selling and rent and rank as a WordPress site? And once you've got it rented out, you don't have a risk that you swap to the WordPress site and you lose your ranking. So that's the thing I'm not sure about. If you get a go high level site as part of the package, you just keep it switched on, and it'll still rent. It'll still rank after you switch off ads, the same as a WordPress site. So, or is a WordPress site on a subdomain which isn't like concretedallas.com, because I could never tell a go high level site by looking at it, right? Unless people use them and they look just the same. I can't tell what it looked like.
Google does not care if you built the site with Wix or Weebly or WordPress or High Level or Duda or anything else. Google cares about,
Yeah.
yes, they care if it loads quickly. They care if it's responsive to the phone and the tablet and the desktop device widths. They care if your their customer, Google's customer is the searcher. Did you give the searcher what they wanted? What you were talking about before is called a bounce rate. If I go to alleyconcrete.com and I don't find the information that I am looking for, and my bounce, I bounce back within 30 seconds, it's probably a bad sign to Google. If I'm on that site for 3 minutes because I'm watching a video, I'm filling out a form, I'm viewing the different services, that is a good indicator that maybe I should rank higher next time, as you were talking about. Now, I don't want to get into the idea of, forwarding your calls randomly, but the point is that you it doesn't matter what you use to build a site. It matters if it loads quickly, if it's responsive, all that. Now, if you are to build building a website, and I don't know much about you or your technical background or whatever, but based on the words that you've said, I can tell you're not as technical as me. And that's not a negative thing. I'm just letting you know. Because I can look at the source code of any website and tell how it's built, or I know tools that can tell how it's built. That doesn't mean I'm better at anything than you. The point is, when you know the structure of a web page, you know basically like semantic things that should be on there or not on there. So, for example, there should only be one H1 tag, heading
Yeah.
tag.
Oh, I know that. Yeah. I'm using Spintax and Magic Pages to spin different versions of text. So I'm not technical, but I learn enough to get it by. But the H1, H2, and how you arrange what a good signal to Google is, I've done an SOP of it, but I'm not technical, but I can follow an instruction. But that makes sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So,
H1, the meta title description, I optimize it as much as I can.
so
You might say it doesn't matter. Yeah.
my point is that
What
if
technology?
you put the same, let's call it not HTML, but HTML structure, the content structure, H1s, H2s, paragraphs, images, everything. If you put that in a WordPress site and you put that in a high level site and you put it in a Doodah site, it's not going to matter. Now, the reason to use WordPress over a high level site or any other type of site is because of the ability to be programmatic, kind of like what you're talking about. There is no mass page generator for Wix, Doodah, um, high level stuff like that, at least none that I know of. And in order to do that, it would have to be through like an API, which currently there's not an API endpoint to add a new page to a high level website. So, but that would, API just means like Zapier or make.com, stuff like that. So, um, because WordPress allows you direct access to the code, that's why you can do more cool things, plugins, whatever else. I would say that it's not a requirement. If you just see so much potential, hey, there's 1,000 searches a month for this keyword. It's really valuable. I'm converting well on my forms and my design and everything else. And I want to add even more pages and these related keywords and everything else. You can do all that, add another page to a high level website. There's unlimited pages and everything. Um, but you might want to invest into a WordPress website. I would say do not do so lightly. Do not do so until it's paid for, unless you're, some WordPress wizard. And I'm a WordPress wizard, and I don't do it that way. I build the sites in high level because then I don't have to pay for hosting, and they load quickly, and I don't have to do all the updates. It's easily integrated with my high level form, my all the other stuff. So I'll send you some links and you can click on them and you'll
I
see.
might put the require if you have a dummy site, I can put it require. I'd like to see how it interacts with me as a searcher, but I won't do it then if it's going to waste your credit. But for me, if I can make the backend simple, it just eliminates so much noise for a team, for myself to do, which
Yeah,
is why people like you who know what they're doing, who've been doing it for years, rely on using high level, and then they worry about because I don't get paid for doing a WordPress site, I get paid for my leads. So if it creates me leads, I'll do it. If it doesn't it does move the dial, it's not really going to
right.
work for me. And yeah, we've about run out of time. I guess my only other question was the different plans. Am I mistaken that there used to be some people they get free sub accounts. Is that available, or is that a different thing? How does that work? Because if you're the reseller and people use your platform and you've given like a sprinkling of the extra Click Magic, which is the snapshots, everything else, I get it. You've helped to create something that's of value. How does it work if I get a sub account through you versus through Guy High Level? Is there a free sub account trial or offer or something which helps me while I'm starting out? Because if I make money in the long term, I'm like, pay the people who helped you get there. Like if you pay a stranger for a course, then the guy who helps get you there, like with real tangible, tools and help, that's worth more than the guy who did a course or who gave me text on a course. So I'm just trying to work out how to not dig myself deeper in a hole before I get this one site monetized. So
Yeah, for sure. So the simple answer is if you buy your own high level plan, which I would recommend everyone doing rank and rent would do, because you're going to want one new sub account per, basically per website, per location, whatever you want to call it. And so for $97 a month, you can have three. You should be making money if you have three sites. One of them should be rented out. You can afford 97. You can afford the next plan at 297. So for $300 a month, you can have unlimited sub accounts, which means unlimited sites, unlimited contacts, unlimited everything. So that's very affordable. The part of high level that is not free, or like all inclusive in that price, are what I call consumables. So a consumable would be send a text, receive an email. What else?
forward a call, I guess,
Yeah,
right?
calls, telephony type of stuff. So telephony and email. So those things are basically, you can either hook in your own Twilio account and therefore be billed directly with Twilio, or you can use what they call LC phone and
Mm.
LC email. LC stands for lead connector. It's their gray label brand instead of high level. So the I use lead connector phone and lead connector email because then I don't have to have separate accounts at Twilio and Mailgun, and they pass along their bulk usage discount. So it's actually a little bit cheaper to use Twilio through them than Twilio directly. Not much. You're not going to notice $100 a month or anything, but why wouldn't you have it easier? I mean, there's very few use cases you would want Twilio directly, but so in that sense, for $97 plus, maybe a couple dollars to own a phone number and use it and all that kind of stuff, then it's very affordable. Now, if you were to have a sub account under me, I have the $500 a month plan, which is called the SaaS reseller plan, SaaS mode. It's done by a number of things. That's designed for agencies selling technology to their customers. I pay $500 a month, and they make it really easy for me to sell plans. So I can sell a plan for $97 a month that is only one sub account, and it only includes these 10 features. And then if you want the next level through me, you pay me $500 a month and you get the extra features and you're allowed more whatevers and all that stuff. So
You can do your own pricing configuration. I think
there's,
on your video, I remember you saying, yeah.
yeah, there's no mention of high level in your SaaS plan. It's just Cliff's agency offering this plan. The end user knows nothing about it. Now, the reason that's beneficial is because I, as the agency, it's a sticky product to get them to use my software. Maybe their website's on there. Maybe they're using my high level as their CRM and all this other stuff, right? And so that's the SaaS mode. But the reason they offer that at such a low price, I could make it back on one client a month. The reason they offer such a low price is because I am the support now. If they have a question, they call me. They don't know anything about high level. They can't submit questions to high level support. So what I have done is, if you want a high level sub account, you can let me know. I can create you one. You can try it out. You can have the rank and rent snapshot in there. The idea is, it works well for me. Why wouldn't I do this for more locations? Now, it doesn't cost me anything for you to have a sub account. So in a sense, I don't care if you have 100 sub accounts under me, but at the same time, you shouldn't because I have access to all your stuff. It's cluttering up my UI. Like my drop down now has 500 accounts in it instead of 400. And so, um,
Fair usage applies. I think it's a point. Fair usage, and I guess you have a way of applying that, or if not,
so
you will
the way
know.
it works is that you eventually you're going to say, you know what, of course, I want to use this software. I'm going to sign up my own account. I'm going to use Cliff's
Yep.
affiliate link so he gets a little bit of a benefit. And then you submit a ticket to High Level requesting that sub account ID number 1234 gets moved out of Cliff's
Yep.
High Level and into Allie's High Level. And then I approve it and you approve it. And then you have your same sub account and everything. So you don't lose any data by doing that. But, when you start asking for sub account number 45, I'm probably going to be like, why don't you have your own High Level? Um,
I understand. Yeah, yeah.
so the other side of it is um, under the SaaS rebilling plan, let's say my cost directly with LC phone is like 1 penny per text. Not that it is, but just for easy math, 1 penny per text. On the SaaS reseller plan, I can upcharge that. So it costs you 3 cents per text, just for example. Now you don't know. The typical use case is you're just a landscaping business, or you're a contractor of some kind or something. You're a dental office. You're whatever that agency's customer is. So you don't know what it costs, and you don't care because that's just the price, and you agreed to it. The but when you use a sub account under me, uh, you connect your credit card because otherwise it would be taking it out of my account. Like I'd be paying for
Video.
your text for your Colorado Concrete website, doesn't make any sense. So you connect your credit card, but I'm not charging you that monthly fee. And um, and then when you're ready to create your own, we just submit that thing and it goes to your own new high
Got it.
level account. And then
I
you
think
connect directly through high level.
I think might make sense for me to try a couple of sites, maybe two, three sub accounts, just try and get something ranking monetized, and then I'll be like, this works. This is a tool. The forwarding, the callbacks, it's hard to do it without using a tool, and I'm already using a separate page builder and a lead form, and I'm like, this should be easier. So, and can I use my existing Twilio numbers? So if I have a Twilio account already, which I set up call forwarding and everything else to, is that possible to put into this sub account or with a bit of
You,
configuration, or is it better to?
I have another meeting starting in 5 minutes.
Oh,
Um,
sorry. Okay.
so
Yeah.
I can answer more questions, but it's probably best through messaging. Yes, you can
Yeah.
connect your own Twilio if you have your own high level. If you're on my SaaS plan, then I, as the agency owner, need to enable that for your sub account. Typically, that's not enabled because your end client users are probably not owners of a Twilio account. So you would just have to let me know that you want to do that. I would um, check a box that allows you to do that because otherwise, by default, it's not going to be available. You're not going to see it. And then your what do you call it? You can use the LC phone or the LC email or both. So you could swap out LC phone for your own Twilio, but still use LC mail and therefore not having to set up a mail gun. Like it's one or the other or both. It's up to you. So I'll send you some links and then you can know the next steps and everything, and we'll go from there.
Thank you so much, Cliff. Really appreciate that, and lucky to have the opportunity to speak to someone who's knowledgeable and is a helpful guy. So I appreciate that. I do want to try using to go high level. I'm in touch with Haji Don as well, so he tells me you should try it and give it a go. And if you like it, then go all in. But this is the right way. I'll let you have a little mini break before your next call for 3 minutes for grace. And
Sounds
I
good. Yeah,
appreciate that. We'll be in touch on the messaging tool. Yeah, let's
let's
keep
chat
in
again
touch and
soon.
I'll ping you on the message. Definitely.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Take care. Thanks. Bye bye.